New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani comes under fire amid suspected terror in his city. Trump says he's nowhere near putting boots on the ground in Iran. And Rihanna's house is fired on with her inside. I'm Georgia Howe with Daily Wire Executive Editor John Bickley. It's Monday, March 9th, and this is Evening Wire.
The two men arrested for an alleged bomb attack in New York have now been charged. Wired In Live host Cabot Phillips has more.
Authorities say Amir Balat and Ibrahim Kayumi tried to detonate two devices Saturday night, including one that tested positive for TATP, a highly volatile explosive used in previous terrorist attacks nationwide. Both men were arrested shortly after the incident and now face 5 counts of terrorism-related charges, including knowingly attempting to provide material support or resources to a foreign terrorist organization, use of a weapon of mass destruction, and unlawful possession of a destructive device. But that wasn't the only potential terror threat in the city over the weekend. Police closed off East End Avenue Sunday after discovering a suspicious device inside a parked vehicle. The FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Force has joined the investigation, and bomb squads conducted limited evacuations while assessing the new discovery.
New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani's wife is facing criticism for liking posts that celebrated the October 7th terror attack on Israel. Daily Wire homepage editor Jordan Schroeder has more.
Reports claim that Mamdani's wife, Syrian-American artist Rama Douaji, used her Instagram account to like posts in the hours just following the October 7th attack, which framed the acts of terror as a form of, quote, resistance. One of the posts she liked described the breach of Israel's border barrier as, quote, breaking the walls of apartheid. When asked about this by reporters, Mamdani said this.
My wife is the love of my life, and she's also a private person who has held no formal position on my campaign or in my city hall.
The deflection drew immediate skepticism since, in December, Douaji appeared on the digital cover of New York Magazine's The Cut and was featured in coverage by the New York Times. In the same magazine profile, Douaji acknowledged that Mamdani's political ascent had thrust her into the public eye, saying, quote, I realized that it was not just his thing, but our thing.
U.S. officials are warning that Iran may have sent an encrypted message intended to awaken sleeper assets. Daily Wire reporter Zach Jewell has the details.
According to a federal alert, intelligence agencies intercepted a coded transmission from what appears to be an Iranian broadcast station, sending signals to multiple countries. Authorities say the message could contain instructions for covert operatives positioned outside Iran, and Iranian officials have reportedly referred to the signal as Operation Trigger. The alert has prompted U.S. law enforcement and counterterrorism agencies to heighten monitoring for potential attacks, though officials say there are currently no specific credible threats to the public.
Oil prices jumped above $100 per barrel on Monday. According to AAA, the national average for gasoline rose from $2.99 per gallon 1 week ago to $3.47 on Monday. Iran has launched attacks on regional oil facilities, including the Ras Tanura refinery run by Aramco in Saudi Arabia, which produces 550,000 barrels per day. Aramco shut down the facility as a precautionary measure after an Iranian drone attack. But President Trump reassured Americans Sunday night that the price of oil would drop rapidly when the destruction of the Iranian nuclear threat is over, adding, quote, only fools would think differently.
With oil prices rising, the G7 countries are meeting tomorrow to discuss releasing oil from the strategic reserves. The member nations currently hold just over 1 billion barrels of crude in reserve, nearly half of which is in the U.S. The U.S. maintains another 400 million barrels of commercial reserves held by private entities. If the conflict in Iran continues, calls to release the reserves can be expected to grow louder.
President Trump intervened on behalf of the Iranian women's national soccer team following reports that the players had been branded, quote, wartime traitors by Iranian state media. Daily Wire reporter Lyndon Blake has the story.
Following a public post urging the Australian government to act and saying the U.S. would if, quote, they don't, the president revealed today that he'd spoken with Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese on behalf of the Iranian soccer team. He wrote on Truth Social, quote, 5 have already been taken care of and the rest are on their way. This is in reference to securing the safety of 5 Iranian team members so far who fled the hotel their team was staying at and who are now in police custody. Trump continued writing, quote, some, however, feel they must go back because they're worried about the safety of their families, including threats to those family members if they don't return. Iran's exiled crown prince, Reza Pahlavi, thanked President Trump on X and posted that, quote, these 5 courageous athletes currently in a safe location have announced that they have joined Iran's National Lion and Sun Revolution. We'll have more on this as the story develops.
Russian President Vladimir Putin has pledged, quote, unwavering support for Iran's new supreme leader. What remains of the Iranian regime named as the successor to Ali Khamenei, his son Mojtaba. In a telegram sent Monday, Putin said Russia would remain a, quote, reliable partner to Iran.
Russia is not the only American geopolitical adversary backing the Iranian regime. China appears to be enabling its war machine as well. Daily Wire senior editor Joel Needler has more.
2 Iranian supply ships suspected of carrying chemicals used to make rocket fuel have departed a Chinese port. The ships docked at a Chinese chemical supply depot last week. Satellite imagery shows them departing a few days later laden with cargo. According to the Washington Post, and based on the history of Iranian shipments from that particular Chinese port, the ships are almost certainly carrying sodium perchlorate, which is used to make solid rocket fuel. Iran uses this fuel to power its ballistic missiles. Analysts note that Beijing could have held the ships in port through diplomatic means. However, they did not. The ships are scheduled to arrive in Iran sometime next week.
President Trump says the U.S. is, quote, nowhere near sending American troops to retrieve nuclear material in Iran. Trump told the New York Post during a phone call today that, quote, we haven't made any decision on that. We're nowhere near that. Several news outlets reported on Saturday that American brass was considering a boots-on-the-ground operation to control the nuclear material in Isfahan, which the U.S. targeted last summer. Here's how the president addressed that question aboard Air Force One on Saturday.
What are the circumstances where you'd send in ground troops? How are you thinking about that?
I don't even want to talk about it. I mean, that's, I don't think it's an appropriate question. You know, I'm not going to answer it. Could there be? Possibly, for very good reason. Have to be very good reason. And I would say if we ever did that, they would be so decimated that they wouldn't be able to fight at the ground level.
Arizona Governor Katie Hobbs vetoed a bill that would have created a specialty license plate honoring slain Turning Point USA founder Charlie Kirk. Here's Daily Wire culture reporter Megan Basham with the story.
The proposed plate, approved by the Senate and the House of Representatives, would have featured Kirk's image and raised money for a conservative grassroots organization tied to his work. In her veto letter, Hobbs called Kirk's assassination, quote, tragic, but she said the bill would inject politics into a government program that should remain nonpartisan. Republican State Senator Jake Hoffman, who sponsored the measure, blasted the decision, writing that Hobbs's, quote, grotesque partisanship knows no bounds. And he accused the governor of failing to show, quote, the human decency to put her far-left extremism aside, simply to allow those who wish to honor Charlie Kirk to do so. Other approved specialty plates include the Choose Life plate, the Homes for All plate, and the Alice Cooper's Solid Rock plate.
Shots were fired Sunday at the home of pop star Rihanna and rapper A$AP Rocky while Rihanna was inside. Daily Wire entertainment reporter Amanda Harding has the details.
Los Angeles police arrested a woman after she allegedly fired multiple rounds from an AR-15 style rifle at pop star Rihanna's Beverly Hills area mansion while the singer was inside the home. Apparently, one bullet managed to pierce the inner walls. Authorities say officers responded to reports of gunfire Sunday afternoon and quickly tracked down the suspect, who allegedly fled the scene in a white Tesla before being taken into custody at a nearby shopping center about 30 minutes later. Investigators say between 7 and 9 shots were fired, with several rounds striking the house, though no one was injured. Police are still working to determine a motive, and Rihanna's partner, A$AP Rocky, was not home at the time.
And the lead singer of legendary rock group Boston has died. Tommy DeCarlo's family announced that he passed away on Monday at 60 years old. DeCarlo's family said in a statement that he fought brain cancer with, quote, incredible strength and courage right up until the very end. A brain bleed last September sent DeCarlo to emergency surgery and led to his diagnosis. DeCarlo joined Boston in 2008 and led vocals on the band's 2013 album Life, Love, and Hope.
All right, those are your drive home updates. To learn more about these stories, go to dailywire.com. And in case you missed it earlier today, we covered some major stories, including epic fury ramping up as Iran's leadership fractures, mounting fears of Islamic terror attacks here at home, and the economic fallout from the operation in Iran. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow morning with another full edition of Morning Wire.